Allahu Akbar.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam wa Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmiddin. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana li hadha wa ma kunna linahtadi lawla an hadana Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to welcome you all to another session from the Arba'in sessions we're having right now and the sharh of these ahadith, yani the commentary on the 40 hadith of Al-Imam Al-Nawawi rahimahullah. And we are now on hadith number 33. Which is the burden of proof is on the claimant. And let us begin with the recital of this beautiful and very in-depth hadith, the Prophet ﷺ. عن ابن عباس رضي عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لو يؤتى الناس بدعواهم لادعى رجال أموال قوم ودماءهم لكن البينة على المدعي واليمين على من أنكر. حديث حسن رواه بيهقي وغيره هكذا وبعده في الصحيحين. Translation. Ibn Abbas عنهما said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, were people to be given according to their claims, people would claim the wealth and blood of others. But the burden of proof is upon the claimant, and the taking of an oath is upon the one who denies. This is an excellent hadith in which Bayhaqi and others have related, and some of which is also in the two Sahih books. Furthermore, the hadith in Bayhaqi is graded as Hasan by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Okay, introduction. So, this hadith, al-bayyinatu al-mudda'i wal-yaminu ala man ankar. This hadith expresses the importance of establishing the proof and ensuring that justice is achieved. Okay. And this hadith also forms the following important maxim. Evidence is for the person who claims, and the oath is for the person who denies. And the requirement of establishing sufficient amount of proof acts as a filter to reject weak, false, and unsubstantiated claims. So in every judicial dispute, there are at least two litigating parties, the plaintiff and also the defendant. And the first one, the plaintiff claims that which is contrary to the apparent fact. And the latter, which is the defendant, holds on to the apparent fact and denies the claim. So going forward, another hadith which further defines the meaning and builds upon this hadith is narrated by Abu Wa'il from Ibn Masud. His hadith narrated by Ibn Wa'il. And going forward, another hadith which further defines the meaning of this hadith is the following. كانت بيني وبين رجل خصومة في بئر فاختصمنا إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم شاهدك أو يمينه قلت إنه إذن يحلف ولا يبالي فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حلف على يمين يستحق بها مالا هو فيها فاجر لقي الله وهو عليه غضبان. Here Ibn Masud relates, I had some dispute with another man regarding a veil, and we took the case before Allah's Messenger ﷺ. And Allah's Messenger ﷺ said to me, produce two witnesses to support your claim, otherwise the defendant has the right to take an oath, ya'ni to refute your claim. I said the defendant would not mind to take a false oath. Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, whoever took a false oath in order to grab someone's property will meet Allah and Allah will be angry with him. And this hadith, again, is in Sahih Bukhari. So thus, for any claim to be against another person, the claimant needs to have proof. The onus is on the plaintiff. Okay. So if there is no proof, then the defendant needs to make an oath just denying that claim, and that's sufficient. And here we see the case of one of the most closest and the most knowledgeable of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, Ibn Masud, who presented a case before the Prophet. However, since Ibn Masud did not have any proof, the case was dismissed after the defendant was forced to take an oath. Okay. but the Prophet ﷺ warned. Okay, he warned that the defendant taking a false oath would incur the wrath, the la'an of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so this is where justice is served. All the defendant has to do is make an oath. However, that oath, if it's incorrect or false, it is basically the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What will you choose? A small punishment in this world or unfathomable punishment in the akhirah? لكن البينة على المدعي. The proof is on the claimant. What this hadith shows is the supreme importance of proof to the administration of justice. And the necessity of proof is a restrainer to false, weak, and unsubstantiated claims. So therefore it becomes important to know upon whom is the onus of the proof. And from this hadith also there is no doubt that the burden lies upon the plaintiff. This is explained by the fact that what is apparent is presumed to be the original state. So anyone who makes a claim contrary must prove that. So the proof of a matter requires presentation of evidence until the matter attains that degree of certainty by which it's obvious. So certainty is that which can be established by sight or proof. So certainty can only be dispelled by another certainty. Okay. And the definition of the defendant, okay, is وَالْيَمِينُ عَلَى مَنْ أَنْكَرَ. Okay, so the defendant by default is presumed to be innocent. He is free from liability until the claimant proves that the contrary is the case. So this principle is directly implied from the hadith statement, the burden of proof is upon the claimant. So thus it is essential to know who is the defendant and who is the plaintiff in any case. So this is number 1, for the purpose of ascertaining upon whom the burden of proof lies, and 2, to see which party's evidence takes precedence over when a conflict arises. So there are 3 views regarding the plaintiff and the defendant. Number 1, the plaintiff is the one who is not charged with anything, while the defendant is charged and cannot remain silent regarding that charge. Otherwise, it's obvious that he is guilty or she is guilty. Number 2, the plaintiff is the one who is claiming something other than what is apparent or what has not yet been established in the past. And the defendant is the one who is on the opposite side, arguing that what is apparent is indeed the truth. Okay, or that's what stands. Number 3, the defendant is the one who is rejecting the claim, while the plaintiff is the one making the claim. So all these 3 definitions sort of give us an idea exactly what's going on and what defines further who is the plaintiff and who is the defendant and what their role is in a case. Okay. Now transition to the next topic, which is the meaning of bayina. Okay, what is bayina? So in this hadith, the noun bayina is generally translated as proof, but that is a limited meaning because there's other words also which encompass the same meaning as proof. So according to early and contemporary scholars, its meaning also encompasses all of the established means of ascertaining the truth or bringing the truth to light. So bayyina is a proof, anything which brings or proves the truth and makes it apparent. So it includes things such as witnesses, evidences, or even the qadis testing each of the 2 parties. All this basically can be bayyina. And many jurists also view that bayyina refers to only that of witnesses. So from another angle, bayyina only refers to witnesses, but altogether can also encompass additional things and evidences. Okay. So the meaning of proof is much more comprehensive than what encompasses other types of proof, and it's not restricted to just production of witnesses. So altogether, bayyina encompasses different types of evidences or proofs. Okay. So thus modern forms of criminal investigation may be used in reaching a judgment. Otherwise, rights may be lost and injustice can prevail. And from this also, circumstantial evidence can be used as well to lead to a definitive conclusion. So there's different types of words in the Arabic language which refer to proof. We talked about bayyina, but also burhan, which is higher than bayyina. And another one which is ayah, which is also even higher than burhan. Going forward, okay, witness. Okay, the criteria for being an acceptable witness. Okay, so a witness needs to follow the following criteria in order to be accepted or to be able to be a witness for the case. Okay, number 1, the witness must be sane and competent. Okay, number 2, the witness must be an adult. Okay, number 3, the witness must be a Muslim unless it is a case dealing with non-Muslims. The witness also should have sound memory, integrity, honesty, cannot have a conflict of interest, very important, or have some type of bias against one of the two parties. For example, if they're a relative or an opponent. So that's important as well. Okay. So it is important to note that the number of witnesses can change depending on the situation. So for example, for matters of marriage and divorce, 2 witnesses are needed. In Surah Talaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا بَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَأَمْسِكُهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ فَارِقُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوَيْ عَدْلٍ مِّنكُمْ وَأَقِيمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ لِلَّهِ ذَلِكُمْ يُوعَظُ بِهِ مَن كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and when they have fulfilled their term, either retain them according to acceptable terms, or part with them according to what is acceptable. And bring to witness 2 just men from among you, and establish the testimony for Allah. That is instructed to whoever would believe in Allah in the last day, and whoever fears Allah, He will make a way out for him. And this is ayah number 2, Surah Talaq. So 2 witnesses are also required for crimes such as theft or alcohol consumption. However, in the case of adultery, 4 witnesses are required as per Surah Nur, ayah 4. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَأْتُوا بِأَرْبَعَةِ شُهَدَاءَ فَاجْلِدُوهُمْ 80 جَلْدَةً وَلَا تَقْبَلُوا لَهُمْ شَهَادَةً أَبَدًا وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ.
And those who accuse chaste women and then do not produce 4 witnesses, lash them with 80 lashes and do not accept from them testimony ever after. And those are the defiantly disobedient. This is the punishment for those who cannot produce 4 witnesses for adultery. Okay. Again, this is to protect the society from baseless claims and slander against chaste women. So here we see that in this case, the one making this serious accusation is liable for a strict punishment if 4 credible witnesses are not produced, and this again is for the betterment of the society. Okay. And furthermore, in the longest ayah of the Quran, ayah Dain, it is specified that there should be 2 witnesses, and that if one of the witnesses is not available, then 2 women witnesses can be accepted as that. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and bring to witness 2 witnesses from among your men. And if there are not 2 men available, then a man and 2 women from those who you accept as witnesses. So that if one of the women errs, then the other can remind her. And let not the witnesses refuse when they are called upon. Surah Baqarah, Ayah 282, Ayah Dain. Okay. So here many misconstrue from this ayah that 2 women witnesses equal 1 male witness categorically in all cases. However, this is not the case. This depends on the matter involved. So, for example, in this type of situation, the above ayah refers to monetary issues and writing a contract. Depending on the case, a woman's testimony can be accepted alone and be equivalent to the male, or be half of that male, or not accepted. So it depends. It depends on the context and what type of case is going on. And going forward, the importance of and the obligation of testimony, the importance of witnessing. Okay. So giving testimony is an obligation that people need to do when called upon to do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says again in Surah Baqarah,
ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم. لله في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير.
And do not conceal testimony, for whoever conceals it, his heart is indeed sinful, and Allah is knowing of what you do. To Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. Whether you show it, what is within yourselves, or conceal, Allah will bring you to account for it. Then He will forgive whom He wills and punish whom He wills. Allah is over all things competent. Going forward, false testimony. Okay. It is very clear that concealing testimony is a major sin. Okay, from the previous ayah. Okay. However, even more egregious than this is false testimony. It is paramount for the witness to say only the truth, since false testimony is a major sin. Okay. And Islam stresses the importance of fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. The Messenger also said, أَلَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِأَكْبَرِ الْكَبَائِرِ قُلْنَا بَلَى يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قَالَ الْإِشْرَاكُ بِاللَّهِ وَأُقُوقُ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَكَانَ مُتَأَكِّيًا فَجَلَسَ فقال ألا وقول الزور وشهادة الزور ألا وقول الزور وشهادة الزور فما زال يقولها حتى قلت لا يسكت. The Prophet said, shall I not inform you of the biggest of the great sins? We said, yes indeed, O Messenger of Allah. He said, to join partners in worship with Allah, to be undutiful to one's parents. The Prophet sat up. He had been reclining and added, and I have warned you against giving forged statement and false witness. And I have warned you against giving a forged statement and a false witness. The Prophet kept on saying that warning till we thought that he would not stop. A hadith narrated by Abu Bakr in Sahih Bukhari. So this is even more emphasized when it relates to matters involving the potential misuse of authority. Okay. The same applies also in dealings when one has the upper hand in terms of wealth, whether it's power, lineage, status, knowledge, family relationships, when there is more risk of taking advantage over others in an unfair way. Okay. So it's very important that we have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all circumstances, particularly when we're called to testify. This is where someone can be susceptible to the forces of evil to make them slip and say something incorrectly. Okay. And this is again a great sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 134, Allah says, O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives, whether one is rich or poor. Allah is more worthy of both. So follow not personal inclination, lest you not be just. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. We think of why we're so humiliated in this time and age. Despite our wealth, despite our numbers, if only we were to the level of just establishing justice, this would elevate us so much. But we can't even do that. We are a ummah of justice, of qist. Okay? We need to be just as much as possible. It is just a bedrock of society to have justice. Without that, it doesn't make a difference. Sharia cannot stand if there's no justice. Okay? So may Allah make this ummah an ummah of justice. Ameen. Going forward. And also we have to realize that sometimes it could be difficult, and even family and personal relations can influence us in terms of distorting us, swerving us from the truth, but we cannot even let the family do that. Even if it is our parents, even if it is our spouse, okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a greater haqq, the potential for great, just unfathomable punishment in the akhirah. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he starts off by saying, لَوْ يُعْطَ النَّاسُ بِدَعْوَاهُمْ لَدَّى رِجَالٌ أَمْوَالَ قَوْمِ وَدِمَاءَهُم. Were people to be given according to their claims, people would claim the wealth and blood of others. So this is basically a propensity for people to do this out of jahiliyyah, ignorance, and the shaitanic encouragement. Okay. But this hadith prevents people from making that step, because this prevents those evil people from stepping forward, because they have to present evidence. So in the end, we all will face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our acts. وَحِسَابُهُمْ Allah ta'ala, and their hisab will be upon Allah. Okay. The point here is that a person can be free and innocent in this world. They can sort of try to weasel their way out through court and get away with things. Okay. They think that's the case. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them stand, and everything what they've hid, and even when their hearts will be exposed, and they'll be scrutinized by the most precise and the correct judgment of the Almighty, the Al-Hakim. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, "Man halafa ala yamini sabrin, yaqtati'u biha ma'al amri'in muslim, laqiya Allah wa huwa alayhi ghadbanu, fa'anzal Allahu tasdeeqa dhalik, inna alladhina yashtaruna bi ahdi Allahi wa aymanihim thamanan qalila," ila akhir al-ayah. Rasul ﷺ says, if somebody is ordered to take an oath, and he takes a false oath in order to grab the property of a Muslim, then he will incur Allah's wrath when he will meet him. And Allah revealed in His confirmation, verily those who purchase a small gain at the cost of Allah's covenants and their oaths. This is narrated by Abdullah in Sahih Bukhari. Furthermore, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ وَإِنَّهُ يَأْتِينِ الْخَصْمُ فَلَعَلَّ بَعْضُكُمْ أَنْ يَكُونَ أَبْلَغَ مِنْ بَعْضٍ فَأَحْسِبُ أَنَّهُ صَادِقٌ فَأَقْضِي لَهُ بِذَلِكَ فَمَنْ قَضَيْتُ لَهُ بِحَقِّ مُسْلِمٍ فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ قِطْعَةٌ مِنَ النَّارِ فَلْيَأْخُذْهَا أَوْ لِيَتْرُكْهَا. I am only a human being, and litigants with cases of dispute come to me, and some of you may happen to be more eloquent in presenting his case than the other, whereby I may consider that he is truthful and pass a judgment in his favor. If ever I pass a judgment in favor of somebody whereby he takes the Muslim's right unjustly, and then whatever he takes is nothing but a piece of fire, قِطْعَةٌ مِنَ النَّارِ, and it is up to him to take or leave. The hadith is narrated by Salama in Sahih Bukhari. Okay. So here, the above hadith indicates clearly what's the consequence of winning false claims or false cases. They can think that they're winning in this life, but a grievous punishment awaits them in the akhirah. This is a beautiful hadith also in the realm of fiqh issues, fiqhi matters. Okay, we can apply this, for example, in claiming or looking at how we deal with lost property. For example, Imam Ibn Rajab has cited several examples of the application of this hadith in his commentary Jami al-Ulum al-Hikam. And one example is in regards to claiming lost property. So if someone loses something, as per, for example, also Imam Malik and Imam Shafi rahimahumullah, then the identical description is also sufficient as well. So if someone loses something, they present to you the specific description of the item, the wallet which it has in it, the phone, the specific type, the color, all the different details, and if they're able to open the phone perhaps with the code, that may be sufficient as well. However, scholars such as Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Ahmad stress the importance also of the honesty of the claimant as well. So both opinions are related to this hadith in the case where there is no actual defendant. Okay, so here the hadith is used from a different slant to ascertain claiming of lost property. Furthermore, another story which cites the adequacy of circumstantial evidence is in the following story narrated by Al-Khalil on the authority of Ruqayyin al-Rabi' from his father, who said, a horse belonging to my brother ran away from a place called Ainul Qamar. Then my brother saw it in Sa'ad's stable and asked for his horse. Sa'ad said, do you have any proof? My brother said, no, I have no proof except that when I call the horse, it neighs. He then called the horse and it neighed, then he gave it to him. Circumstantial evidence, straightforward. An evidence to show that this property belongs to the specific person or individual. Okay, so beautiful implementation of how we see fiqh extracted from this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. Furthermore, Umar Abdul Aziz radiallahu anh was known to return property from the Baytul Mal if the claimant stated that his property was taken by force from the ruler. He was aware, of course, of the injustice of the previous rulers and was satisfied with minimal proof. Okay. So context and also situation also would be important in ascertaining lost property. So, morphic issues. We saw it in certain cases. Certain circumstantial evidence can be used in terms of claiming lost property. In this regard, Sheikh Jamal ad-Din Zaraboso also points out that the degree of strength also can vary. And one interesting and important situation which may occur in a society, in an Islamic society, is when there is a dilemma of an unmarried woman becoming pregnant, and at that time she claims that she was raped. And the scholars, the ulama, differ with respect to this matter. For example, according to the Maliki madhab, Ibn Taymiyyah and also Ibn al-Qayyim, one of Ibn Taymiyyah's students, the woman is to be punished since she should have reported the crime right away, where there were signs of this heinous crime. However, others such as Imam Shafi, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Hanbali and Imam al-Zahiri, the Zahiri madhab, state that the pregnancy itself is not a clear proof on her behalf. For example, she may be perhaps shy to make that claim of rape because of shame or the situation. And Sheikh Zaraboso also makes the point that there can be also various ways in which ma'adallah, rape can occur, particularly these times, from drugs, which can cause unconsciousness. And even, he mentioned artificial insemination. Furthermore, it is important to note that regarding this topic, an intact hymen being a sign of virginity is a mere myth, despite it in Arab societies being a proof. If you go back to the Sahaba, the Khulafa Rashidin, for example, Umar radiallahu anh, what did he do? He actually freed a woman known for righteousness, charged with fornication, who became pregnant. And after she told her story as being violated and stated her innocence, he radiallahu anh let her go. The story is actually great as Sahih in the Irwa of Al-Albani, as cited by Sheikh Zarabosi in his commentary. The point here is that in these cases, the specific situation is important as well. So here, the statement of the hadith, وَالْيَمِينُ عَلَى مَنْ أَنْكَرَ, in these cases suffices because the state of the pregnancy is not in and of itself a clear proof, and Allah knows best. So, putting everything together, in conclusion, it highlights of this beautiful hadith. So similar to the previous hadith, this hadith, the burden of proof is upon the claimant and the taking of the oath is upon the one who denies the allegation. Present another important maxim from which justice can be established in legal matters. So here we see a different tangent and how these two hadith, for example, apply to legal matters, shar'i matters. Okay, very fiqhi perspective. And this is very beneficial for the society in many different ways and respects. Okay, and here the onus is on the plaintiff to bring forth a proof to substantiate his or her claim against another. And if that proof is not present, then the defendant is simply to swear an oath to end the case against him or her. Okay. However, as was previously emphasized, the statement made by both the plaintiff and the defendant have to be of the utmost truth. Okay. And this is where, again, taqwallah, having knowledge of the reality of the severe punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the major sin of doing false testimony, should be realized by both the plaintiff and also the defendant. Okay, the wrath of Allah is upon them if they dare to utter a lie. So Islam in general, altogether, is a very practical religion which addresses all these situations, even when there are natural conflicts, quarrels, and disputes among community individuals. Okay, and in such situations, people often claim their rights against one another, as explicitly stated in this hadith. Okay, and Islam establishes rules and principles by which these disputes are brought to an end in a fair and just manner, and above all, an individual is innocent unless proving otherwise. So inshallah, with this we will close. Jazakallah khairan for your attendance, and may Allah give us tawfiq in knowing and memorizing these important principles regarding these ahadith. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, wa nashhadu wa la ilaha illa ant, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.